Okay, nice conversation between Mr. Jing, Stan, and David, yeah. Okay, then good evening, all of the participants who are dominantly coming from my beloved country, Indonesia. And also welcome to our brilliant speakers here that we have, which are Sten Ivan and David Taylor. Hello, guys. And to all of the participants, thank you very much for your enthusiasm in joining the Talk 15 with growth marketing as our main theme of conversation today. We do hope that this webinar could be beneficial and inspire delight as well to all of us. All right, I think we can go to the next slide. First of all, I would like to let you guys know briefly the main objective of this webinar event. So we would like to inspire young talent to innovate using technical skills to solve real world problems. We also would like to inspire experts to share their most authentic moments with the next generation, as well as inspire students to intern at Bukit Vista. Yeah, so we are currently also opening job vacancies and also internship opportunities for brilliant students out there. So kindly check our website and take a look at the job vacancies to everyone. Okay, the next objective is, the main words for the objective is delight. So we invite industry experts at leading companies, in this case is growth marketing expert. Yes, thank you, Mr. Jing. That was the links that you guys need to click, yeah? Also, by inviting industry expert, we would like to conducting a live Q&A or question and answer. And as an audience, you guys can engage lively during the event by asking questions and uploading topics. And if you guys would like to do this, you guys can click the link on our Slido applications there. The committee will write down in the comment chat with the password of #BV-eTalk50. And the moderator, our moderator today, which is Mr. Jing, will stir up the debate and lead the passionate discussion. Finally, we will be having a post-meeting huddle with the co-hosts and speakers at the end of the event. Okay, then next slide. Okay, to make sure that the event today is going well, we have already created the format. So firstly, we're about to have some brief introduction from the host and co-hosts, from the moderators, as well as from the speakers. And also, the moderator will moderate the discussion with the panelists. And then we will have a closing and surveys that the link will be distributed through the comment section later after we finish the event. And then we're about to have post-event huddle, where we have casual conversation with the moderator, with the speakers, so that you guys can have a further discussion to discuss about anything. Okay, then, right. So we have here our project manager, Kak Kevin. Maybe Kak Kevin would like to introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you for the time, Vina. So yeah, this event was managed by two project managers. So first one is me. So my name is Kevin, and yeah, at the moment I am an HR intern at Bukit Vista since January 2021. And at the moment I'm also studying at Universitas Tarumanagara, Faculty of Psychology. And yeah, one fun fact about me is that I suppose I can wiggle my ears. And yeah, that's about it. So back to you, Vina.
Thank you, Kevin. Hope you don't wiggling your ears by hearing all of the speakers, yeah? Okay, next is for me, the second project manager, as well as the host for today's event. My name is Servina. Hello, guys. And I'm also an HR intern since February 2021 at Bukit Vista, who actually has finished my intern here this is my last day, actually. Okay, then, and I studied at University of Gajah Mada at Faculty of Social and Political Science. And one fun fact about me is that I hope to travel the world, but through it to educating for exceptional children. Okay, then next. Okay, so I would like to get to you guys more by giving some understanding about Bukit Vista as a company. Yeah? So Bukit Vista as a company have a main mission, which is to inspire delight through hospitality innovation that can positively transform guests, partners, and employees. And if you guys can see here, we have so many beautiful properties in Bali and Jogja. So if you guys curious about what do we do as the hospitality innovations, you guys can kindly check our website, also Instagrams, to take a look at our properties over in that channel. Also, you guys can take a look at our Airbnb profiles and directly book or reserve some room that are offered by Bukit Vista. Okay, then. Yes, so for today's event, we are successfully collaborating with PPIHK, which is the student association coming from Hong Kong, and also KSEP ITB, student association coming from Institute Technology of Bandung, and also BEM FEB UGM, which is the student association coming from University of Gajah Mada. Okay, then. Okay, I will pass the time to one of our co-hosts, which is Student Association from Hong Kong. Time is yours.
Hi everyone, I'm Gabriella and I'm from the External Officer from Pepe Hong Kong. Thank you so much, Bukit Vista, for having me today. I'm gonna share a little bit about Pepe Hong Kong. So Pepe Hong Kong, also known as Indonesian Students Association in Hong Kong, is an organization founded in 2012 with aims to prosper Indonesian students and industries who are residing in Hong Kong. Pepe Hong Kong has over 500 active members affiliated throughout the 8 universities in Hong Kong. Our vision is to create an inclusive platform to our members in learning and sharing on academics, social, international, and external relations in a friendly manner with sincerity and generosity. Through innovative activities, we have a mission to give strong impacts to develop Indonesian students' potentials accordingly in this globalized era. We have a few events happening through the year. The first one is pre-departure gathering, an important event for all freshmen before they depart to Hong Kong. It has been designed to provide useful information regarding the study and the daily life in Hong Kong, as what to expect and what to prepare upon arrival. Next, we have the welcoming gathering, which happen every year in Hong Kong, an amazing event to welcome all freshmen few weeks after they arrive in Hong Kong. The event has usually been arranged in an interesting way like Amazing Race. Next, we will also have the sports competition, an inter-university competition between Indonesian students all over Hong Kong. The competition includes basketball, mini soccer, and badminton. Also, we also have a networking event every year. This event includes Indonesian students in Hong Kong, professional Indonesian workers who work in Hong Kong, representative on Consulate General of the Republic of Indonesia, and even the staff of Ministry of State-owned enterprises in Hong Kong have the chance to extend their connections. Also, there was an event where the students of Hong Kong met Pak Jokowi, the President of Indonesia. And also there's an event, the Conference of Diaspora Youth of Jakarta. Here are our communication channel. We have the Facebook, Instagram, the website, and also LinkedIn. We have a few different ways to connect with us. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Gabriela, for your introductions of your organization. Yeah. Okay, next is to KSEP ITB. Time is yours.
Hello. Okay, thank you, host, for the spotlight. Hello and good evening, everyone. I am Gwyneth, the current chairman of KSEP ITB, as well the representative for KSEP ITB in this webinar. We would like to thank all attendees who have joined, and we would like to say that we are proud to collaborate with Bukit Vista by becoming one of the co-hosts in this webinar. All right, allow me to introduce ourselves. We are Kelompok Studi Ekonomi and Pasar Modal, or commonly known as KSEP from Bandung Institute of Technology, ITB. We are here to empower ITB students through economics and capital market education. And here about in this slide, here about our detailed profile of our entity. So we are a campus-based, move to the previous slide. Okay, so we are a campus-based student-led organization founded in 1997, which means we already empowering ITB students in 24 years. We aim to be the leading platform to develop economics and stock market knowledge in ITB, especially for its students. As we can see here, We dedicated ourselves in education and training as our main activity to reach our mission in improving economics and stock market knowledge. Currently, KSEP ITB has more than 200 active members from all faculties in ITB, and each year we recruit a new batch of members in the Open House Unit Festival at ITB. Next. Okay, as the education sector unit student, we transparently open our activity to ITB environment. So here we present our organization structure to show that we have structured these activities in carrying out our various work programs. As our tagline in empowering students, we have one special division called Education Division that deals with our independent curriculum in delivering economics and capital market education to our members. Despite that, this division also have the sub-main jobs in economics research and capital market trading, and we also proudly share it in our social media as well as Instagram, as you can follow with the name KSEP ITB, and LinkedIn, which you can find us by typing KSEP ITB. Okay, next. So these are some examples of our activities. We annually have a field trip to BAE, or also known as Indonesia Stock Exchange, to accommodate our member field education and directly in capital market. As our organogram that we have seen before, there is our biggest event called Invest, which also commonly known as Investment Festival. In this event, we held a seminar which talked about economics and investment who delivered by Indonesian experts. Then, as we're recruiting new member each year, we also have a new member inauguration event to formally welcoming the new member. Next, we also had collaborate with external organization or institution to mutually sharing insight other, as the way the world want to. We routinely held a basic education and advanced education training to our member, and we also held a celebration to support and appreciate our graduate member. Next. Move to the next slide, please. Okay, so here is for the last one. Here are some of our member achievements. Well, that's all briefly about us. Thank you, and I give this webinar back to the host. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for letting us know more about the organization, yeah. Okay, then last but not least, there is a student association coming from Faculty of Economic and Business, University of Gajah Mada. The representation time is yours, please.
Okay, thank you, host. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to introduce myself again. My name is Andelia. I'm from the Department of External and Diplomatic Relations here at BEM FEB UGM. First of all, I would like to say thank you to Bukit Vista to invite us as a co-host in this webinar. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you briefly about BEM FEB UGM. So basically, BEM FEB UGM is an independent executive organization in the Faculty of Economics and Business at Gajah Mada University that has the intention to serve the needs of its stakeholders, which are students, faculty, community, and also nation. We also have vision to make BEM FEB UGM as an inclusive and synergic organization for students to collaborate, and also providing a forum for learning, developing, and dynamics for all FEB UGM students. Our missions are to create internal relation based on mutual trust and professionalism, embracing every organization in FEB UGM, serving FEB UGM students by building student empowerment movements and strengthen aspirational media. Last but not least is to produce critiques and also building strategic partnerships. Next slide, please. Okay, so furthermore, these are our organizational structure. So briefly, we have a chairman and also a vice chairman as our leaders. And further down the structure, we also have 3 bureaus that consist of finance, human resources, and also secretarial bureau that are led by Secretary General. And then we also have 7 departments that are divided into 3 divisions. These divisions are External Affairs Division, Student Affairs Division, and also Social Politics Division. Last but not least, we also have an independent internal control committee that is led by 1 chief and 4 deputies. Next slide, please. Okay, so what we do here in BEM FEB UGM. So in general, we do a lot of things in many different fields, such as economy, education, culture, social, arts, and also sports. And in this slide, you may see some of our previous projects that we have done earlier this year, such as social care donation, where we gather donations and distribute it to people in need. And then we have grand launching, that intention to introduce our newest cabinet of the year. And also we have the International Indonesian Cooperation Program, that is a cooperation program between UGM and also the Hiroshima University of Economics, Japan, to increase people's awareness about tenun lurik. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the end of BEM FEB UGM's presentation. So if you wanted to know more about our activities or what we do, you may contact us via line, Instagram, Twitter, website, and also email. That is all that I could share about BEM FEB UGM this evening. Thank you for all your attention. Back to you, host. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Student Association from Faculty of Economic and Business, University of Gajah Mada. I would like to also thank you again for the introduction given by each of the representative coming from these three amazing organizations. And thank you for allowing us, the committee, to collaborate with all of these organizations. And most importantly, Bukit Vista would like to also express that we are also delightful and proud to have all of these organizations to be our co-hosts for today's webinar. Okay, then the next introduction is coming from our moderator for today, which is also our CEO from Bukit Vista Hospitality Startup Company, to Mr. Jing Choyang. After he introduced himself, he will also directly moderate the discussions. Okay, then Mr. Jing, are you ready?
I am ready. I'm born ready. Okay, thank you very much, Vina, for the delightful openings, and thank you everybody for attending our discussion today. I know everybody wants to get into the heart of it, so I'll be brief. My name is Jing, I'm the CEO of Bukit Vista. I'm wearing the same shirt as I did in the photo. I studied at UC Berkeley back in almost 20 years ago, and previously I worked at Airbnb, also a hospitality company called Aman Resorts. My fun fact is I was an extra one time in a famous Bollywood movie. Okay, let's go over to the next slide. Our first guest speaker for this evening will be Sten Ivan, and I'll pass the time over to Sten for Sten to introduce himself.
Hi everyone, so glad to be here. My name is Sten, and I'm the head of growth at Hodlnaut. And a little fun fact about me, I really love hiking and summiting mountains, but I'm actually really afraid of heights. And I live in Bali in Canggu. And there's a lot of vegans here. So in the beginning, I was like really against them because I think it's just, I don't know, I just don't agree with it. But now I think I want to become a vegan. I don't know, it's funny. I want to be, I'm thinking about it, but it may not happen yet. It's not happening yet.
It's unavoidable, I think, if you do spend time in Canggu, Sten. Okay, thank you very much. Sten and I are both in Canggu at this moment. Let's bring the attention to our next co-host, David, who is joining us from Sydney. David, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are.
I'm sorry, David, you're unmuted.
Hi, my name's David and I suck at Zoom. My name's David. I'm the growth marketing manager at Vloggi in Sydney. I've competed, my fun fact is I've competed professionally in mixed martial arts. Been tired of getting punched and kicked in the head and moved to marketing. And I also study ancient history and ancient languages on the side away from my work hours.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, David, for the introduction. And let's go on and get into the heart of our discussion. So as much as possible, we would like this webinar to be a very engaging and interactive event. So that's why we have created this this opportunity for the audience to ask us questions, both myself and my guest speakers here are really eager to see what the audience would like to engage with. So we have a Slido link right here. Our host here will put this link into the chat, and you may engage, ask questions, or upvote questions if you don't have any direct questions, so that we can bring some audience material and engagement to this discussion. Fantastic. All right, let's go on to the next slide and bring ourselves into the opening topic. Now, this is a very big topic, I think, so I'll try to kind of focus it down a little bit. So understanding customer trends. This is something that I think is highly important to growth marketing, but it can also be distracting in the sense that there's probably a lot of noise out there. Talked about, something just came to mind recently about Clubhouse. I remember for a while that was going really, really hot, and now it seems to have cooled down. So from your professional experience, how do you understand a customer trend? How important is a customer trend to creating your marketing strategy? And what are some fun stories that you might have about this topic? I'll start with Sten first. Sten, what do you have to say about this topic?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously there are a couple of different options that you can consider. I'm just going to share what we do at Hodlnaut. So at Hodlnaut, since it is a crypto company, so our product, we basically act like a bank. If you have a cryptocurrency, let's say Bitcoin, you deposit them with us, and then we give you interest rates. Because this is such a product, a niche platform, the best way, I think, to kind of like understand the behavior of our users is just asking them directly. So that's what we do. And I think the nice thing about us, we are still pretty small and fairly in the early stages of, as a startup. So it's easier to get feedback, constructive criticism, because they're willing, to tell you, hey, I think you guys should have this, you guys should have that. And because they feel like they're part of this family, like a really big family, And then the way we do it, we send out surveys in different stages of the buyer journey. For example, let's say, the user signed up, but then they don't do anything after that. And they don't really they don't really, it doesn't have to be about my product. It can be like, you sign up for an account at this e-commerce, but then you don't buy anything, or you don't download the ebook, you don't do anything, right? So we send them an email. Yep. Like, hey, what could be better? Like, are you having difficulties in the next, I don't know, verification process, for example, or anything that's, that's supposed to be the next step that they should take. So we send out surveys and we ask them in different stages, what are the issues that they're facing. And then the second thing that we do that is pretty effective is polls. So we will conduct polls on Telegram and Twitter, which is, a really quick and stress-free way to understand exactly what your users, are looking for when using your platform, your website, or reading your content.
Interesting. Okay. So Sten, it sounds like you have a method for understanding like in detail by focusing on specific surveys for your direct users. And then you use things like Telegram, polls on Telegram and Twitter to get a sense of what the wider market is doing. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, fantastic. That's great. Let's go to David. David, I understand that your company was recently funded actually, and I think it was your seed round. So maybe tell us from your perspective, what's happening with that at Vloggi? What does Vloggi do to understand customer trends?
Yeah, so with our customer trends, at the moment, we're in a bit of a strange phase because we've got so many opportunities for various customers, customer personas, because Vloggi can actually cross a lot of industries. So, advocacy groups could use it, just normal small businesses could use it, governments could use it, educational institutes. There's quite a lot of use cases. So it's really, for us, it's really important to find commonalities between our customers. One way that we're finding customer trends at the moment is by looking at the upgrade, like things that they might want to upgrade, things they might want to do with our platform. I think that's really important because we do have a few different functions that are key features. So we need to narrow in on what key features they are and why they actually want to use those key features. And then that tells us a little bit more about the customer, but it also can tell us an overall picture of where other customers may come from as well. For example, Vloggi's, one of our key strengths is that we can store videos into a cloud library, and we can store hundreds of thousands of videos into a cloud library. That's not our primary function, but a lot of customers love that. So that also shows us the type of customers that are coming through, and what type of customers in the future that we could actually branch out to, and we could really narrow in on. So I think that's really important. Everything Sten said is, I 100% agree with Sten. The only thing that I would do, that we do a tiny, actually no, Sten would definitely do this as well, with talking to the community. So we're not at that stage yet. We're still growing our customers regularly, and we don't have, say, thousands of people in any type of social communities as such. But we do have the opportunity of reaching out to them and engaging them, exactly like Sten said. We're still small enough as well to be able to reach out and ask them, hey, what are you excited about? What do you like about our product? And where do you think our product will go? And we can build some more data on that, and and then we can kind of reassess it weekly.
And just
that's amazing.
Go
ahead, Sten. Yeah.
Sorry, just to tie into what David says, I just want to continue that. If your product or brand doesn't have any number of users or active users, or users who actually use your app or product or whatever, another thing that you can do to understand your customer is by looking into Google Analytics. If you don't have a website, get a website, a landing page, right? You can put some information about your product there, and go into your Google Analytics, because it will tell you who visited your website. Maybe it's, I don't know, 70% male compared to like 30% female, then maybe that will tell you something. Maybe, actually there's a lot more male users who are attracted to this product. Then we could think about something and how to make the most out of it. Or maybe a lot of users actually access their website from a mobile browser instead of the desktop. So that could tell you, maybe you have to have this product mobile optimized. So just things like small data details like that will kind of help you shape your product and build that initial pool of users.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I think,
thank you, Sten, for that comment.
Yes, and to further that, I think Sten and I probably live in Google Analytics. And,
sure.
That's our home. But yeah, and like Sten said, that Google Analytics, I also use SEMrush. I know SEMrush, you have to pay for it, but I think there's also a free trial that you can, with a certain limit. That's a really good way as well to understand search intent, but also kind of tell you a little bit about your customers coming through, what they're searching for. And there's a wide range of tools there as well that you could use that could help that. I'll save my other tip for the end.
Okay, this is actually fantastic. What I'm gathering from this is one of the benefits of when you have a small startup, when you're just getting started. This, I all of a sudden, when both of you gentlemen were speaking, it reminded me of, I think Paul Graham at Y Combinator said this: if you want to create a really big business, it's better to have 100 users that love you rather than millions of people that just like you. So this process of going and speaking with the client, speaking and getting to understand their personas, I think was the word, is quite valuable to being successful in this particular field. Let me go over to Sten again. Besides Google Analytics, are there any other tools, SEMrush, are there any other tools that you find yourself involved in on a daily basis? Google Trends, maybe, I don't know, like anything else that you find yourself using on a daily basis to develop consumer trend?
Yeah, there are tools out there that can just feed you with all this information you know, I can go on and on with like different tools, paid or free.
Yep.
But I like to do things naturally. Like, you know, if I want to know what people are talking about, then I go to Google, right? I go to the Twitter hashtag, what's trending today, right? I mean, Twitter tells you, like, depending on where you live, it tells you, like, okay, today in Indonesia, trending is the fake earthquake alert or something, you know, which is happened today. Right. So you just have to be alert, you know, if your audience is in the online world or in the social world, then be there, you know, in the online world and the social world, be active, always be listening. Google Trend is a good one. And SEMrush, you know, like David says, SEMrush is also a really good tool to kind of like understand, you know, who comes in and out of your platform and what can you do with the data. Yeah.
Interesting. And this might kind of broaden the topic a little bit more, and I'll direct this to David, which is, how does a marketer not get distracted by marketing? So meaning, like, you know, you have all these things that kind of like grab a marketer's interest, like, oh, this month everybody's going to go on Clubhouse, and then it's like, okay, TikTok's going to be the next big thing. But is it more important, you think, to stay focused on a few tools that have like you know, this is 2020, and we're still relying on Google Analytics, which is a really old tool. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that or anything, but is that actually a better strategy to focus on things that are sort of stable and certain, rather than getting maybe distracted or whatever on new sort of waves of things coming up?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question, because I guess, like, we, you know, I'm not sure about STEM, but I'm thinking we're probably the same. We get distracted by the next shiny tools that come through, and sometimes, you know, you want to test it out, and, you know, probably 80%, I would say 80% of the tools that are the kind of the new shiny tools, or the, you know, the new channels, you don't really end up using them or going with them. And I think really the one really important thing that would make your life easier would be to find out, well, first, think if your customers would actually be on that channel, or, you know, because the thing is, let's say Clubhouse, right? Clubhouse is great for marketers. Now it's dying a little bit, but, you know, it is great for marketers. But if your customers are not marketers, or, you know, they're not there, then I think that you're probably wasting, you know, possible time, you know, potential. You could be using it for somewhere else. So if, you know, if you're selling, say, a consumer good, and you know, you're promoting it on LinkedIn, let's say, it might be the wrong place. And I think that's a really important thing that I do notice this quite a bit when you meet founders, or you meet small business owners. Like, I've got my product, you know, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, and they've got across 10 channels, great visibility, but they're not at the right place at the right time. So it is probably find out where your customers are, you know, where they're engaged as well. Just because they're on Facebook doesn't mean that they're actually on Facebook to buy. You know, sometimes Facebook is great for killing time. You know, you might be on Facebook because you right? So it might be a good time to approach them, but maybe not. You know, maybe your customers don't want to be approached if you're selling, say, a business tool on Facebook. That's not the right place, not the right time.
Excellent. And David, thank you so much for that clarification. I have seen that a few times, just in my own personal journey, where people beginning marketing, they even like student clubs, right? They'll be like, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Instagram, we're on all these different channels. But then the actual members that maybe like actually come in and stuff, they might actually come in from one particular channel. Sten, do you have any thoughts or feedback on it? Do you feel the same or different than what David has stated?
No, I agree with what David says. I think at the end of the day, it's a matter of like what works best for you. If you're comfortable with a certain tool that can help you to understand your users better, then use it. Don't need to feel like you need to jump into the trend. Oh, there's like this new tool that comes in, everybody's using it, so I'm gonna use it. But if it's like too expensive, or if you like you don't really need it, then don't go for it. You know, just use what you need, really. Pretty simple.
Okay, so in this philosophy, almost sounds like less is more. So stick to the 80-20 rule, right? Like, you know, you're going to get most of the results from actually the few tools that are actually working. And if it's not working that well, you probably need to move on to find the right tool and then just focus on that part. Okay, cool. Hopefully that's helpful for anybody in the audience right now, just sort of like starting out their marketing journey. That took me, I don't know how long it took you guys, but it took me a while to understand that. I was always greedy to like get into more different channels, because it felt like, yeah, that's what success means, right? You're available everywhere. But a clever marketer, I think, knows to prioritize better. Okay, fantastic. Let's so that concludes our first question. That was the question from PPIHK. Our next question is from KSEP ITB, and it's okay. This is a fun one. All right. There's been a lot of talk during COVID that in some ways things have gotten better. In fact, a lot of internet companies, if you look at their stocks over 2020, I think they've all risen considerably. And so how much impact do you feel like, is this an opportunity for digital marketing? Is digital marketing maintained, increased, or how does digital marketing affect sales during a pandemic like COVID? I think last time I started with Sten, so this time I'll start with David. How do you feel about that one?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, really good question. I think there's a lot of layers to this question, though. It really depends on, like, from my opinion anyway, it depends on maybe where you are in the world, what industry you're in as well. During COVID, I actually joined Vloggi 4 months ago, and before that I was working for a European-based no-code startup, and for them, they were doing extremely well, because more people were at home doing, so more people were a little bit more entrepreneurial spirited. I assume that, there's a lot of people that unfortunately lost their jobs, and, so they were trying different things, new things. And there was just a lot more people with lockdowns, and they're in front of the computer. They're looking at trying something new, and obviously with no code, at the current time, it's a great, it's one of those big trends in tech, and it's growing really quickly. And so that allows them to practice, learn, and build a new platform or, website of their own. But then let's say with Vloggi, Vloggi was completely different, because Vloggi was actually built by Justin and his Jeremy. It was built for travel. So it was actually built so that they could crowdsource travel videos and from vloggers around the world, and they were doing quite well before COVID with and it was growing, right? The moment COVID happened, everything was gone. So they had to pivot, and they had to learn how learn about new customers, rebuild the tool itself, so that it could do other functions and it could serve other industries. So I think that they're two different, you can see it right there, two different industries had two different experiences. And then just on the digital marketing side, I think that it opened up more opportunity, because from my experience just within those industries, I noticed ad spend was down, competition in, say, for PPC, bidding for keywords and on social media ads. Some of those, those costs were actually down because there was less competitors. And, less money coming through. So obviously they've cut their marketing spend. So I think it's really, really a bit, hit and miss. In Australia, we're very fortunate that, COVID is very low at the moment. So, everything's kind of going back to the close to it, the way it used to be. So there is a lot of growth in the economy at the moment. So like I said, I think it's to do with location, industry, and just in regards to the marketing, I think ad spend, that type of thing.
Okay. I've got two quick follow-up questions, and it might be a slight tangent, but it's also related to marketing, which is, after what you just said, David, I believe you guys had funding just quite recently in March. Am I correct? At Vloggi? Okay. So, one, how is that possible, right? Like, why would somebody feel confident about funding a vlogging company when travel hasn't returned to normal? And my second question is, what are you going to do with that money?
Well, for the answer to the second question, we're not having a boat party. I've already been told no. But yeah, with Vloggi, it's been around for 2 years before that. So you know, the investors are interested. Justin, who's the founder, he's amazing with his ideas and vision for Vloggi. So you know, we've got a good team around us. You know, we've got an amazing programmer, you know, who's a CTO, Jeremy. So these guys, they've been working through COVID, trying to figure out how to make it better for business customers, not so much just the individual vloggers or travel audience as such. You know, in the future, they definitely could use it. There's definitely uses for them. But at the same time, now it's a really great, like, self-serve business tool. You know, so ideally, you know, we'd love to be the Canva, but of, you know, user-generated content.
Oh, wow.
So you could just jump in and you could use it. Yeah, you know, so I mean, everyone's got a mobile phone, everyone's recording,
right.
You know, everyone's filming their experiences. So we've just made it much easier for for a business to collect it with the right, you know, consent and legal requirements, and store it and publish it into a really nice branded video. So I think, you know, there's a lot of uses.
Cool.
So I think investors feel very comfortable about that. And then to answer the second question, it goes back into building a more amazing product. So
rather than marketing?
Yes, into marketing. So there is a marketing budget, but it's also used to continue building, because I mean, you know, servers, there's a lot of expenses, you know, and
of course,
server expenses, and you know, the building of it. There's all different elements, you know, UI, UX. There's quite a lot that goes into it. Legal costs. There's a lot there.
Got it.
Okay. Ahead of, in July, we're Justin's about to open up the first seed round, which will be of 1.5 million. So that will be in July.
Okay.
And then that's when, you know,
hopefully
we'll be able to share it with the world at, you know, much bigger scale.
Fantastic. Hopefully there's some investors in the crowd today. I want to get in on that round. Okay, thank you, David, for illustrating that. I remember Melanie Perkins' story from also Australia with Canva, and that was pretty inspirational. I think we spoke at that at one of our company all hands. So good stuff. Let's go to Sten. Sten, cryptocurrency has been blowing up. It's gone kind of up a lot over the past year.
Just crashed.
Has the yeah, it's taking a hit now. But over let's say, I think you told me last August you were with Hodlnaut, and have you seen benefits from the pandemic in terms of people's interest and your ability to kind of guide people into your company through digital marketing?
Yeah. Because crypto, I mean, since the beginning, it has nothing to do with, you know, people being online or not online. It's a currency, right? It's a digital currency. So we're not really affected negatively or positively. However, I do agree that digital marketing, you know, increase traffic, sales, lead generation, all that kind of stuff, because I would say that for a lot of brands and companies, digital marketing is the only way where they can effectively market their products now. Why? Because of, you know, when geographical movement is limited, you know, everything is probably shifted to the virtual world, right? So they need to think, you know, people can't go out now. You know, I can't just simply, I don't know, putting a flyer up somewhere, or you know, doing like a billboard ad or something, right? And and how digital marketing, you know, helps this. It's, you know, first of all, I like digital marketing because there's so many things that you can do that cost less than, you know, doing the traditional marketing. Like
Sure.
putting up a billboard on the street, it is expensive, and then you have to pay tax for it. But then like when you do things online, no, really, like you have to pay tax for it. I did that. I had a co-working space in Jakarta before I worked for Hodlnaut. I had it for 2 years, and then the, you know, pandemic came, right? And all of us, you know, were instructed to work from home. So I lost all of my clients basically. So we had to shut down the operation. And then I shifted to, you know, working remotely again, and this time for a crypto company. But anyway, with digital marketing, you can do things like inbound marketing, right? You can do things like SEO. You just create content that people want to read. And, you know, all you have to do is just write those content. You don't need to pay money. Okay, you assuming that you pay, you know, salaries to your staff, you know, to your content writer, to your marketing person. But other than that, really, it's pretty low cost and effective, and it stays there for a long time. Especially, you know, content that are evergreen, you know, articles or publications online, they stay there until, you know, it's taken down by the publisher, or you take it down from your own website, right? And then digital marketing, it's also easier to manage and keep track, because all you need really is a laptop and probably a bunch of clicks, you know, for example, when setting up ads, you know, and then in no time, maybe in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, everything is up and running, and users started to see, you know, your product marketed in a way that you want it to be. So
has COVID improved, or has like COVID affected?
You know what? This is purely my personal opinion and observation, and does not reflect to the actuality of the crypto state. But I think because during the pandemic, the fiat currency meaning currency that we use every day, US dollar, euros, Chinese yuan, rupiah, right? So those currencies are weaker because of the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
The central governments are basically just printing monies to kind of save their, you know, their rates. When that happened, cryptocurrency goes up. The value of crypto just like skyrocketed. That's why last year it increased dramatically. So I do think pandemic, depending on, you know, what your business does, it could actually elevate your business, and that reflected in the way you market it, in the way people use your products. Of course, it is really sad because like in some traditional, you know, sectors like hospitality or tourism, they're really struggling, right? But for others, it may be like an opportunity for you to like to shine, really.
That's it. Okay, all right. Thank you, Sten. Thank you, David, for that insightful moment. Just a quick one, David. I just want to turn this back. So you mentioned earlier, I was thinking about this. You said that the cost per click went down, right? Does that okay? Because I'm thinking like more people are probably online than ever before. Like you can think about like, okay, let's say when you're working from home, you're like, I think Sten talked about earlier, you're not seeing a billboard anymore. You're not seeing the flyer at the sandwich shop anymore. You're not, you know, you're not experiencing all these physical manifestations of marketing in your daily life. You're experiencing your screen pretty much on YouTube during lunch hour or whatever, right? So, do you think that, okay, there must be an influx more of screen time and such, but yet all that new amount of demand for sort of on-screen time did not balance out the demand for the ads, or how would you reconcile that?
Yeah, like same as Stan. This is, you know, my personal thoughts on it. I you know, haven't seen the data on that, so I'd be very cautious in saying anything, you know, 100% confirmed. But what I did notice was that, you know, for, like I said, for some industries, because I have the opportunity to you know, to consult for other businesses, and I noticed that, you know, so for a local business, I mean, you know, people are spending, you know, there's less competitors because, you know, maybe they've had less revenue coming. You know, maybe the revenue's not as high, so they're not spending as much on digital marketing, which means there's less competitors as well, right? So, you know, in some industries, I definitely think, I imagine, you know, if it was a hospitality industry and you were, you know, you had a hotel, let's say, and you were putting out those ads for hotels at that time, especially, you know, when COVID's just hit and it's really taking effect on, you know, all the hotels, and you're the only one advertising, then, you know, you don't have as many competitors, right? So you know, that spend should come down in theory, you know, but we also know that, you know, let's say it's Google. We don't know how Google's going to act, you know, each day. But yeah, that should even, you know, that's probably why that would happen. I assume.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. No, that's great. I just want to be able to, Stan.
Yeah, I just remember something. I mean, even let's say you have a hotel, you are in hospitality industry that directly got affected by the pandemic. You know, how do you maintain your company sales, your hotel sales during the pandemic? It's through digital marketing, because your hotel is closed and people
pretty much.
Yeah, people don't know if, you know, are you still operating? I can't just go out and look at your hotels, right? But you can tell them via social media and online saying that, hey, we are close to this period, but then we're doing pre-sale. When it's open, you can come enjoy us again. You know, we'll give you 40% off if you book it now. And you can only do that through digital marketing. You can't do it with like agents or promoter or anything. So I guess, you know, never really, you know, disregard what digital marketing can do. I think at least give it a shot. You know, who knows, maybe it'll help you.
Absolutely. You know, that what you just said, Stan, triggered a thought in my mind, which is, it's funny because most businesses, when they think about digital marketing, they think about like a website, SEO, you know, SEM, social media, paid ads. But I come to realize other things are digital marketing as well, like just having like a Google Ads or a Google Maps placement, right? And now being able to tie like Google My Business into it. That was something like I thought, oh, is that digital marketing? But I guess it is, right? Because this is where you can tell people you're open.
Reviews and stuff like that.
Maintaining your reviews on different OTAs, that's a form of digital marketing as well. And yet, I think maybe that consciousness sometimes of what maybe these subtle things that we do are also digital marketing is important. Okay, fantastic, great discussion. Thank you, gentlemen, for covering this topic and a lot of meat to this. So let's move to the third topic. Thank you very much, KSEP ITB, for presenting this question. All right, this is from BEM FEB UGM, so from one of our illustrious universities in Central Java, in Indonesia. How to implement riding the wave, mob opinion strategy on marketing. Okay, I think that kind of touches upon what we were talking about trends earlier. So yeah, like I don't have more detail on this one. So I guess this sounds like joining the bandwagon, right? Like something's really hot. Let's get onto it before it cools down. Okay, I have a good way to frame this. So let's say, for example, we believe that there's going to be a temporary trend that's going to happen. Let's say, for example, I don't know, Stan, in your example, maybe there's going to be a lot of people. Elon Musk is going to buy Bitcoin, and you have an opportunity to target billionaires who are buying Bitcoin to have you create interest and create returns on them for that, right? Let's say in David's case, maybe there's going to be a big conference with 100 vloggers, and they're all going to go to one place, and there's a moment you can kind of target that, versus kind of doing things that are more stable but steady over time. How do you balance your priorities and your resources to decide when do you chase after things that are sort of riding the wave but maybe more temporary, and how do you then balance it to things that just kind of like more even but consistent? And also, which is another thing that I think people experience a lot, this feeling of FOMO too as well, right? Like is it like the end of this era now and I need to move to something else, or can I be comfortable knowing that what's steady and true can always work? I'll go to Sten to open this question.
Yeah, okay. So I think this question is like there's a lot that you can angle it. But there are a few things that you can do to implement this so-called riding the wave strategy. I think for the first thing that you need to do is to be alert and vigilant on what's going on in the industry, right? I think if you have identified an opportunity where you can, an opportunity for your brand and product, where you can hop into that trend and use it to your advantage, then consider it, then do it, right? And then there are different ways for you to do that. I think the first thing is you can be personal. There's going to be a lot of other brands who also want to take advantage of this trend, right? In order for you to stand out, you just need to kind of like show your personality. If your brand or product is a person, what would he or she be, right? Maybe it's a coach. He or she is a coach that instructs and guides, or a friend that you can rely on. So like a different personality that you want to kind of like convey to your brand, to be perceived by the others. And when you're able to communicate that message in a simple and relatable human way, chances are you will be noticed easily. And then your product also need to be actually relevant and people actually want to use it, right? Don't join the trend just because, that's the cool thing to do, because eventually users, they will notice that, oh, okay, this brand, even though it's cool, but that it's not exactly, connect to the trend at the moment, they will know that, they will know that something is not clicking, right? So you will not be able to position your brand to the right audience, and your product will be kind of wasted if you spend a lot of money on that product, market it to the wrong wave, right? And then, nobody will benefit it, and you're not gonna get, the result that you wanted, and then people, find no use of it, right? And then I would say also the last thing is just to be visible. I think it goes back to the part that we have touched previously. We just need to utilize digital marketing, be visible. You need to be able to be reachable easily. Get the basics done. If your customers are often active on Facebook, then have a Facebook page. If it's Instagram, then Instagram. If a lot of users tweet about, certain things, have Twitter. Just pay attention to the kind of platform that works for your audience, and just make sure that your audience are using that specific channel so that you can maximize the reach.
Got it. So it sounds like what you're saying then, Sten, is actually riding the wave needs to be relevant within the particular audience and channel that you're working in. And that's the right way. But if you're just riding the wave and you really don't have a specific approach or a specific understanding of what audience and channel you're working with, then it probably won't see any lasting impact. Okay. All right. David, what do you think about that? Like, what are your thoughts on this particular topic?
I think Sten gave like the perfect answer. It was perfect. Look, the only two things I could really think of just to add was from a business perspective, making sure that is worth the effort of riding that wave. So making sure there is a return. I think that's really important. Just because, exactly like Sten said, just because it's a trend and it's cool at the time to do it, it doesn't mean it's worthwhile for your business. And especially if you're a small business, or you're a startup that's you're a solopreneur, or you're funding it yourself, you don't want to be spending money or wasting time or effort trying to catch a wave that has no return or has very minimal return. And I think so. Yeah, I would really focus on, is it worth the effort, and is it worth the time and any marketing cost or anything like that. And then I think the second is resonation. Does it resonate? If you are riding the wave, are you doing the right things that resonates with your audience, or with that mob opinion as such? Because I don't know, let's say just from a social media perspective, with content, you could be, I don't know, posting memes, but, maybe the audience is full of businessmen at a conference, right? They're very like,
correct.
Very traditional audience, and they don't, say, and you're trying to make it cool, exactly like Sten said, you're trying to be something you're not, and you're not being authentic. People pick up on that, and because everyone is bombarded with marketing messages all the time, it's much easier for somebody to pick up these days that it's not authentic, and that you're just trying to sell them something straight away. Everyone's very skeptical, I would say, and they have a good reason to be skeptical. But yeah, so I think it's really important that you catch that right wave, and you make sure that you're delivering the right message to those people and providing value to those people. I think it's really important that you're trying to sell something to them directly. You're not trying to get them to do something. You're actually providing value, so that, later on, you can move to that point of trying to sell to them, or, convert in whatever business you have, but providing value. So, really good content, and really focusing on what you're delivering.
Interesting. So David, sounds like the idea of actually kind of like creating long-term value. It's almost like being flashy doesn't really help you in marketing, but being consistent and helping people, like you said, providing value, providing that consistent pace and being authentic. That's actually what might be a bit more important than just kind of catching the wave whenever it comes. I just thought of actually a new question. Then let me toss this out. Riding the wave versus making your own wave. What do you think about that? Like, is it better to do one or the other? Let's go with David first on that one. Like, do you see more value in creating like, all right, I'm gonna accept that my opinion is not popular today, but I'm just gonna be consistent about saying it until the world finally starts appreciating it. And I think that might be a story that a lot of small startups actually relate to, because that feels like what it is every day, right? Coming into your startup, you're sending a message out there that people haven't heard yet. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think creating your own wave is definitely worth it. I mean, if there's a lot to it though, there's a lot that goes into that recipe, I think. And a lot of people don't have it. They can't add everything into that recipe as such. And I think as well, it also comes down to timing. You might be trying to create a wave that might not be there for the next 10 years. And you see that a lot of, with a lot of successful businesses, and, perfect example, just off the top of my head, would be inventors. They invent something, but it's not the right time, and then maybe 20, 30 years later, it is the right time, and their wave exists 30 years. So it's 30 years later. So I think it's really important to have that timing, and just because you believe in it, I know this sounds skeptical, but just because you believe in it doesn't mean it's the right wave, and it is the wave. I think it, it comes down to, actually understanding the people you're trying to, get within that, within that wave. And so it's very tricky. I think if, like I said, I think I really believe, just personally as well, if it's authentic, and you have a strong, meaningful, reason to have this, to push this wave, then I think that's a great idea. Go for it. If it's helping other people, go for it. But if you're just doing it quickly to make some dollars and just get in and get out, I don't think the wave's going to go very long, and I don't think it's going to be very successful.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Sten, same question. Coming from a surfer, riding the wave versus creating your own wave. What are your thoughts? Like, is there a way that one would use less resources than the other, or like, how would you approach this?
I think those are like two different methods. I mean, create your own wave. It's like, David mentioned about like, if you are truly helping people with your product, if it's like something that they really need, then automatically a wave will come out of that. That kind of reminds me of like, the story of Airbnb in the beginning, how it started. These two guys were just trying to like, make some extra money, and there was like a conference or something in San Francisco, and people were looking for rooms or something, so they just rented out. But then they never thought I'm just going to create this big wave. It came out of the necessity and of a need to make money and to help people to find affordable accommodation options, right? And that's how this movement of like, I don't know, on demand and sharing, accommodation rental, like everybody can just list, everybody can turn into a hotel. That's how it started, the wave, right? The thing with riding the wave though, you are just piggybacking on something that's already like hot. It's hot right now. For example, if everyone is wearing skinny jeans and your product is like a baggy jeans from the 80s, maybe it's time for you to like reinvent your baggy jeans and like have a skinny jeans line coming out, because everybody's using it. Everybody's wearing skinny jeans, So it's just about like taking advantage of what's going on right now. And if your brand can actually accommodate that, then do it. But if by doing so, it will kind of like steal away the authenticity of your brand, then you have the options to not follow it, because if it's like, if you are born with the mission and idea, for your product, with the idea to really, convey a certain mission or message, even though there's this huge, trend going on and it's so tempting to follow that, if it's not true to you and it doesn't make sense to your existing loyal customers, then don't jeopardize that.
Right.
I
agree.
Yeah,
I agree, because it's not your wave actually.
Yeah.
in some respect.
You got your own thing going on there,
Correct. Okay. The funny thing, Sten, you just mentioned the Airbnb anecdote. I have a fun, quick story I'll throw in before we close this topic, which was riding the wave incidentally saved Airbnb at one point in time. So there was the founders, Brian and Joe and Nate, they were basically bankrupt, and they were wondering how we're going to raise any money to keep our startup alive. So they created cereal boxes based on I think it was the McCain and Obama election. So they just made these cereal boxes because Joe was a good designer, and they rode that wave to earn, I think it was like $50,000, right? Not a significant amount, but it did persuade their investors that these guys would do anything to survive. So that's anyways, that's just a fun anecdote I want to throw out there. Okay, let's thank you, gentlemen, again for this very wholesome discussion about riding the wave. Next topic. Okay, to the next slide. Okay, now comes the point where we take a look and see what the 102 people in the room have come up with us. So, okay, looks like everybody wanted to remain anonymous. If we can zoom in a little bit to the first question up there at the top, we can examine a little bit more. Thank you. Okay. All right. So the first question, it's got 4 upvotes so far. So if you haven't participated in the Slido, I would advise, please, now's your chance. Now's your last chance to get in on some of this action here. So if you have a question, please put it up. If you want to upvote a question, please upvote. So how do you choose which trend is going to die down and the one that will stay? I think we kind of covered that already. Yeah. So that or I don't know. Did David, Sten, do you guys want to take another stab at that, or have we will kind of?
I mean, if no one's talking about it, like it's done,
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't hear anything like on like if you don't hear people talking about it on Instagram or Clubhouse or like on any social media or online, just means like, okay, the trend is over.
It's over. Yeah, Harlem Shake. Okay, David, same, different?
Yeah, same. If you really want to look at data, I would say exactly what Stan mentioned before with Google Trends.
Yep.
Sometimes I like to look at search trends to see, and you can bring that up in, some of the SEO software out there. You can see it dropping in searches per month. And that's a pretty good indication that you probably should bail on that trend.
Got it.
To be really
all right.
specific,
Oh, Stan.
Yeah, just to be really specific, let's say if you are writing, a series of articles on the topic of like healthy eating, right? You can track from Google Analytics like the numbers of visitors or clicks on those articles. If after a certain period of time that the clicks, and the views are decreasing progressively, it means like, okay, people are done with the topic of healthy eating. Maybe we should focus on to the next one. That's how you kind of know.
Correct. Okay, thank you for that, Sten. Next question is, how to build a strong social media presence from scratch? Okay, that's pretty interesting. Let's go David first. What do you think on that one?
Cool. These guys are asking big questions. I think to do this from a growth marketing point, if I was just to give you a quick method, I would probably look at building my social media channels, whatever platform it is, build with friends or family to start with to create some type of social proof. Don't be afraid to actually ask and request your friends and family to join a social media platform. Then I would make sure that I'm producing content of that is helpful and valuable to those to your audience or your potential audience, and make sure you're using hashtags, alt tags, and really just be very consistent with that content.
Okay.
Well, people will find you. People will come, and especially if you're using those right hashtags and you're sharing it out there, and if your if your audience at that time is they're happy with it, they're going to share it, and that's how audiences. You've got to start small, and but that's how audiences are growing.
Absolutely. Okay, great. Sten, same question.
This is like everyone's, question to ask when they're just starting out, right? I think you just need to be patient, because if your product's been done before out there, if somebody already, did it in the past, like chances are you need to be like, be really persistent, work really hard to kind of like gain trust from the users. And you just need to try to stand out, pick a niche that could work for you. Like, let's just say Instagram, maybe a certain type of design that can like attract your users because, your Instagram is all in black background with like really contrasting white fonts. It's really unique. It's really different, even though you're talking about the same thing that account is talking, but because you stands out, you have your own little, personality in that account, chances are maybe you could win the hearts of, other people and like, to come and follow your page.
Differentiate yourself. Okay, very good. I've got a fun question for you guys, right? Which is, well, let me go to David first, right? David, is TripAdvisor social media?
Does it have a forum?
I think so, yeah. I think you can share pictures.
Put it there.
You can leave reviews.
Yeah, if it's a forum where people
it's a social media platform, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
and let me go.
And sorry, just one more thing about that question, and actually kind of relates to that, to your question as well, is engagement. I think it's really important. I think the more successful social media channels, they have better engagement. So they're asking the right questions, they're talking with their community, and they're encouraging their community to talk as well. You see a lot of media channels popping, you see a lot of social media accounts, popping up, and you can do it for just as an experiment. Have a look, and you see that the most unsuccessful ones are the ones that maybe they tried a little bit. They went for a bit, posting. Content was okay, but they didn't engage. They didn't answer anyone who commented. They didn't ask the right questions. Yeah, and I think the most successful, community managers, that you see out there, this is what they're great at.
Excellent, excellent. We've noticed that too. The engagement really matters because the engagement is what brings the rest of the social network from everybody else also to your content as well. Sten, is a Tokopedia account social media? Is a Tokopedia profile social media?
I mean, yeah, like anything that can be shareable is social media. Yeah, with Tokopedia, you have a profile. You can actually do a live, I don't know whether it's Tokopedia or Shopee, but you can actually going live with your audience to promote your brand or whatever.
There you go.
And then you can chat and you can do all this sort of things. So yeah, it is a social media.
Okay, and the reason why I bring it up is because a lot of people, when they think about social media, they default to like, it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, right? Or whatever, and Twitter.
It's normal, but social media is very simple. It's anything that you do online that is seen, that can be seen by other people online, that can be shareable, that can be distributed to other people in one way or the other. That's why it's called social, because it's not only just you. It's
so basically, if you're early into growth marketing, don't restrict yourself to being like, I need to have success on this. Just open it up, right? Okay, cool. Let's go to the third question. Okay, for trends again. Do you have any predictions? What's going to be a trend in the future? Sten,
it depends on what kind of industry you're in.
Veganism.
No, I think you want something that's like what everyone's gonna be talking about. I don't know. Like,
Changgu.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, the pandemic will be over, at some point. And I feel like when that happens, everybody going to be so energetic with the way they spend their money. Because like they want to express themselves, they want to go all out, right? So when you are thinking about launching a product, launch a product that people can buy, things that are flashy, things that are, tacky almost, things that people don't really need, but it's cool to have because
it's fabulous.
Yeah, it's kind of like because people want to revenge, like they can't really shop, they can't really go to the movies anymore. They haven't been traveling, so they want revenge. They want to like, you know what, I'm gonna like go crazy, So if you think about launching a product, think about that.
All right. Think about like something that people will go crazy on. David, what do you think is the next trend?
Yeah, I'm not so sure. Maybe I really think if you're familiar with an industry or a particular niche, I think that would help you with your prediction. But other than that, if I know that, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I don't know, let's say, well, like yourself, the travel industry, we know that it's going to come, it will come back, right? And there's going to be a point of, accelerated growth, right? We just don't know when. I don't know when, but I'm sure like, an expert like yourself in that, that within hospitality, but yeah, but, you have a much better opinion and an idea of when that might be, right? So you might be able to prepare for that.
Got it.
Yeah. And fun fact, we are already in a trend that happened recently.
Oh yeah.
We are doing this webinar conference mini seminar thingy like via online. And there's 100 people here. Like in the old times, maybe we just go somewhere at a conference, right? Going into
I remember
a session.
those days. Meetup.
Yeah, but nowadays it's just virtual. So
like all meetings now are all virtual. It's become.
And like Sten said, maybe people will come back with a vengeance, so maybe the trend is to, meet in person, right? Have these, in-person conferences. So there might be a trend right there.
I'm thinking a foam party, Sten, put a bunch of people in a pool with a lot of foam. Okay, let's, I think we have time for one more, but I'm just going to jump to this one because this one's actually pretty interesting. How much budget for digital marketing is actually in the company budget? And you guys can just kind of, I don't know if you're free to speak about that, but, just ballpark figure about how much of the company budget goes into that. Let's go with, I think, David first this time.
Okay, this is a sensitive topic for a growth marketer, I think.
Is it a lot or a little? Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Traditionally, digital marketing, but it depends, So if, let's say, a growth marketer specifically, not a digital marketer as such, I think a growth marketer that's really just focused on just acquisition and, and trying to, push through the funnel. And I think small budgets are very common. I see this quite often.
Right.
But, in reality, you do need a larger budget at some point. So, having worked on both ends of large budgets and small budgets, I think, I think it's really where you are at what point of your life cycle, your business life cycle.
Okay, cool.
Marketing's expensive. Marketing's expensive if you start spending, with ads and, things add up very quickly. So a small budget can very quickly become a large budget.
I've always said that marketing is a little bit like arms sales, right? You're competing for the price of the bullet with the person you're fighting against, right? So who's going to buy that bullet depends on who can pay the most for that bullet. So, Sten, can you give us a more detailed answer? Or
I mean,
what do you think about this one?
It depends on how much money you have. Like if you don't have any money for like marketing, then just be creative. Think about free marketing, right? But I think let's just say if you really want number, my personal advice is never spend more than 10% of your overall expenses. Like the way I did it with my core game, I only spent like tops like 10%, and that includes when I'm doing ads on Google AdWords or like doing listings or like whatever, right? Because like you can always add more if you need to later on, but like in the beginning you need to kind of like test a few different ways that work for you. And then the best way to do it is like if it's paid, then you spend a tiny budget on each of those things and see which one works. And then let's say if doing ads on Instagram actually work, then you focus on that and you take out all other budget from other areas and shift it to this particular marketing method, So
understood.
Yeah, and can I just add
that's a pretty consistent message. Yeah, David.
Yeah, and exactly what Stan just said. Making sure that it's only 10%. One of those things, and I've seen this quite often, and I'm actually quite passionate about like making sure I share this with people, is that don't get attracted by the fact that you could 10 times that with a certain 10 times the results with by increasing the budget. Sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes you get an account strategist from, I don't know, maybe Google, let's say, or somewhere like that, and their job is to get you to increase. That's how their business survives, right? So they want you to increase your ad spend, and you'll get better results. And I think that's a very common mistake that I do see quite often now, is that people will spend more in the hope that they'll get more out of it, and that's not the case. So you really do have to be careful and really analyze the budget versus the results, because very quickly it's a slippery slope.
Can get diminishing returns, not as much. Your second dollar doesn't go as far as your first dollar did, and what it can bring in. Okay, that's actually a really good insight. Thank you, gentlemen. I think that concludes the time that we have for this discussion. I think we've gone over a little bit, but let's go to the next slide then. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Thank you, everybody, for. Okay, so that concludes our discussion between Sten and David about growth marketing 101, the basics of what you need to know to be successful in marketing. And I want to say thank you to the audience that has been here the whole time to learn, and also to our two guest speakers for sharing their knowledge about this amazing topic. Going on to the next slide, I'll just wrap things up really quickly. We want to get feedback from everybody who's still here in the room about how we did. So one of our co-hosts will put the link into the chat. and just give us some feedback, like the way that you would after a Gojek ride, or after you buy something on Tokopedia or something. Give us some feedback so we know how to create a better BBE talk for the next session. And we'll also share this with the speakers as well, so that they can see how they did relative to for this event. One last final plug for Bukit Vista: we are hiring, so we're looking for a growth marketing team lead. Part of the reason why we wanted to raise awareness for this event, and also people to join us on our mission for sales and business development. The link there, bukitvista.com/jobs, is where you can find more information. And aside from full-time jobs, we also offer remote internships as part of the new trend as well in the internship world for digital marketing interns, market and business development interns, and also content creators and online marketers. Our goal is to positively transform the interns that come on to Bukit Vista to innovate in hospitality and inspire delight. Okay, next slide. This brings us, here are some other channels that we're on. The BBE Talk is on Instagram. Just look up BBE Talk, that's the primary channel. We kept it to one so that it's easy to find. Okay, next slide. And this is pretty much it. So this is the conclusion of the event. Typically, we just, this is up to the speakers as well. We're borrowing a tradition from offline events. So typically after an offline event, the speakers can kind of relax a little bit and members of the audience can approach us. So I'll ask David. David, Sten, do you guys have maybe like 5 or 10 minutes that you guys want to stay and remain? And essentially, it's just to allow for some time for everybody to kind of like chit-chat and decompress a little bit. For the audience that's here, it's not mandatory. Oh, yes, Kevin.
Yes, if I may. So maybe before
yes,
the closing
please,
session, I think we can have a brief documentation of this event.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that'd be
photo
okay,
session. Yeah. So, yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's see. Okay. Vera, in this case, will help me to document the session as well. So give me a second. I'll just unpin everyone. Let's see. Spotlight. Yeah, spotlight. Okay, I think that should do it.
Okay, so should we have everybody turn on their cameras, Kevin?
1 second. How do you actually make the view grid, like a grid version of? Okay, thank you for whoever is doing that.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, everybody who would like to have their camera on, you can do so for the quick photo session. So yes, for this one, I'm just going to count to 5 to wait for everyone to turn on their camera.
All right, everyone, cameras on, please, so we can see your beautiful faces. Certainly looks better than just letters, I'm sure.
Okay. Yes, I think I still see several people opening their camera. But yeah, I think we can start with the photo session. So Vera, please assist me. Yeah. So I'll just count to 3. So 1, 2, and 3. Another one. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yep, I think that's enough. Okay then.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I would just like to thank Mr. Jing for moderating the session, and also Stan and David for the very insightful discussion that we just had. I truly hope that it inspired delight to all of us. And yeah, thank you for the audience that came as well today. And I hope this helps to positively transform you by joining this insightful event. And feel free to stay tuned for the other session if you feel like you want to connect further with our speakers as well, and maybe ask questions of your own as well. And on behalf of Bukit Vista, we would be very delighted to see you again on the next BV Talk. So thank you. And yes, this is the end of the discussion session and start of the other session. And for everyone, feel free to join the other session.
All right. Thank you very much, Kevin.
So yes,